But now, though, we have the map chosen. It is Infernal Shrines. Now, as we saw, this is ESTAR's highest win rate map, so as being Cursed Hollow. But this means we're going to potentially be seeing a bit of a map advantage going over to ESTAR here.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited about Infernal Shrines. One of my most favorite maps, not only when it comes to playing them in Hero League, but also to commentate over them, because the map is super just well-rounded, it seems. You can't really snowball out of control. Even after getting the first 2 or 3 punishers, you should always be able to defend them very handsomely. You can apply different strategies on this battleground. You can go for globals, you can go for raw team fighting. It's just such a cool map to observe. Now, ESTAR, they are, like the previous roster, very much known to play double support Vala, or pretty much double support any hard carry. So what has SOA prepared here? SOA, in the past, was a team that stepped it up tremendously, and they're known for just Uncle G busting out the Zarya, so they play the double support in their very own way these days. Zarya being a hero that not many teams rely on anymore, for some weird reason.
Indeed, she's dropped off a little bit, potentially due to, I would say, just the other secondary supports getting good, with Uther being able to take the place of what used to be a 100% TAS or a TAS or Zarya or Medivh.
Right.
It would still be cool to see a bit more Medivh, I would actually say, just due to how much of a priority is actually taking in the Western scene and in Korea a lot of the time nowadays. But for now, SOA have already shown that their Zarya is still scary, especially on these maps with bosses. Yeah. This one does not have one, but the choke points still give Zarya some value, but Uther, still the highest priority.
Alright, there we go. We see a Dahaka ban coming in here as well for, you know, many reasons. Not only is Dahaka extremely hard to kill, but also he can provide so much pressure while a team commits to the Shrine phase. And even after successfully getting the Punisher, as we said, Punishers, especially in the early game, can be defended by 3 people. So in the meantime, you can just have Dahaka soak and roam between the remaining lanes, and he's gonna give you more advantages, more XP actually, than the Punisher could give you by destroying towers. So really cool to ban that hero out, especially if you don't want to deal with him. First pick Uther here, no big surprise at all. We could see the Anub'arak response here still. We could see the Malthael still very powerful. Or is SOA going to surprise us here? Let's see.
Once again, we're against an Uther. I would like to see Malthael and something else. Don't pick all of those high CC heavy heroes, because Uther just benefits from them. Taking the Ariel is good as well. A hero to combo with that would be nice. Nope, just going with the Anub'arak to start with. We do also have confirmation from admins. Tumi is ill. FC, aka Soap. His new name is FC, so we will call him FC.
Yeah.
We'll be taking Tumi's place for the entire season. So sad times for Tumi. We hope he gets better soon.
Oh yeah.
Now, we welcome FZ with open arms, and I'm excited. I am personally excited to see how much more he can continue to grow as a player.
Absolutely. Many blessings to Tumi. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But FZ, he's going to fill his spot. And truth be told, he showed us more than once that he's very capable of playing at the HGC China level, because ESTAR's record so far, despite having the sub, still looking pretty solid. And they're not going to ask twice about the double Angel frontline here with the Malthael and the Turiel. I mean, you couldn't ask for more, right? You have the double invul now, Sanctification plus Divine Shield. Or the cool thing about those 2 heroes together is Uther and Turiel. You can even skip one. You can go for Divine Storm or Judgment respectively if you want to apply a little bit more pressure. So this is already looking very scary for SOA.
Exactly. How about Judgment Last Rites? Let's go full Chinese meta here. We've yet to see Last Rites, people not appearing to be a fan of it, and for good reason.
Yeah.
You can either have the ability that keeps you alive and does crazy damage to an entire team, or the ability that executes a player who, by that point, is very likely to already be dead. So
exactly.
Those are your options. That is hugely telegraphed. It's like an inverse, ancestral healing.
Oh yeah, or ancestral healing, right?
Of, you have a huge amount of warning, whereas against ancestral healing, the objective is to kill the person before the healing lands. In this case, it's I have all this time to heal up this person or to give them a divine shield or anything like that.
And there's a reason why Curse Bullet is so good right now, because it helps you to kill people. It actually helps you to get rid of a huge chunk of HP in the first place, whereas Last Rites basically requires you to wait until the target loses HP only to finish it off. So that's not a very rewarding teamfight mechanic overall, and of course it also comes with a little bit of a twist. You can stack it up if you get an execution, or at least if you get a takedown on it, but yeah, it's just not a guaranteed value.
So ESTAR could finish off their draft with Cho'Gall. It's not out of the question here.
We have seen those shenanigans last week.
Indeed, the triple angel Cho'Gall comp, the Cho'Gall's Angels, as it was dubbed by our chat. We do love that saying. Yep. So that is definitely viable. SOA do already have the Anubrak, though. They have the Cocoon, and ESTAR have not banned anything that would counter it. So if they are doing it, they are doing it extremely under the radar. Exactly,
and I mean, there is a Malthael, though, in the enemy team, and his trade scales with max HP, and with Cho'Gall being the highest HP here in the game, I'm not sure if that would be worth it, but you're right, it could have been a thought process here that went through SOA's heads here in the draft. Now,
I meant for ESTAR.
Oh, for ESTAR still? Okay.
Yeah, because they have two of the Angels. They have Uther, Divine Shield, Cho'Gall is still pretty good. The only thing that really counters them right now is Cocoon.
Yeah.
As long as they...
the Greyman is still available too, and they could actually pick it. So that is
true. Like I said, they haven't. This is why I said they haven't really banned anything that would counter the Cho'Gall. So I think it's quite unlikely. If they were doing it, this is the greatest mind game of all time.
Let's see if they get a smile on their face.
Yeah, it's very unlikely at this point with Falstad being picked up and still leaving the option for Greymane. It's quite unlikely to see.
Yeah, they're looking way too focused for the Cho'Gall pick here. Other heroes that could still make a lot of sense, of course, are the likes of, an Arthas maybe. There's a couple of other warriors that are still applicable. I normally don't like a solo tank Turiel, but hold on, it's time to wrap it up. And Nazeebo has been called to the battle for the first time. Going with the Tychus here as well. Now...
yeah. The Tychus is good, getting some good... they've got some good delay. They've got a crazy amount of percentage damage, considering it is sort of double tank.
However, there aren't really that many targets to shred. Like, normally you like Tychus when there's one high HP warrior in the enemy team's mix, like an Arthas, like a Diablo. A Nubrak still can get shredded pretty hard by a Tychus, especially when he's in Odin form, right? Because his auto attacks hit like a truck. So, I don't hate it. I'm not sure. So here's the thing. When you pick Nazeebo, you're basically gearing up towards the late game. However, in order to get there, you need to have a strong early game so you don't fall behind by 1 or 2 levels and the enemies will take the game before you even get to 20, right? Does ESTAR have a strong early game though, Tetcher? I wonder.
We will see. They have Malthael, who's good always, basically.
True,
so that's always quite nice. Tyrael usually survives the early game quite well. I don't know, neither of these teams, I would say, have a incredibly bursty early game where they're just going to gain a huge lead. Lunara especially scales way into the late game. Nazeebo scales to the late game. Both these teams are just going for mid to late game. If they win early game, neat, but neither of them are aiming for a snowball.
Yeah, I agree. Both teams have a very well-rounded comp with some early game elements, some late game elements. The best way to normally counter a Nazeebo is by applying a lot of pressure. And what you want to have in your team in order to get that is a lot of wave clear. So you want to have heroes like Gul'dan, the Zul even, which has actually seen a lot of play in Europe lately. So those are the heroes that really pressure a Nazeebo comp because they don't have the damage to really fend off and defend too much. But for now, I do like ESTAR's draft a little bit more simple because of Malthael. He's so solid in all phases of the game, as Tetris said. However, SOA, they do have their own power spikes, especially with Lunara potentially reaching that level 13. Once again, Zarya, of course, being played by Uncle G, always a force to be reckoned with here.
Indeed, they are. So, we'll see which team is able to take it. Both these teams aiming for the late game. The question is who's going to be able to get there ahead, whether Nazeebo will have enough stacks, for example, and if they can keep Lunara safe. I may sound a bit stuffy in the next couple of minutes because I have a nosebleed right now, so I'm attempting to deal with that at the same time.
Take good care, my friend. I'm going to take over, no problem.
No, I'm all good. I'm all good. I'm just
okay.
If I sound stuffy in a couple seconds, that's why.
There we go. And speaking of blood, both teams are going to spill some here on the battlefield, on Infernal Shrines. In the left-hand side, we have the ESTAR team here with Fizi FC, the new tank player, the Tyrael, China #1 on his Uther, good on the Tychus, Kid on Nazeebo, and Ooze is going to play the most badass angel around, the Malthael right now.
Whereas on the right-hand side, it is going to be start over again with Faye on the Ariel, Unchi on the Zarya, Tank Ovo on Falstad, Spark BZ on the Anubrak, and Shy is playing the Lunara, who is anything but. Because the forest bites back.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep reading So Ashy when I see Shy's nickname.
So Ashy.
Which would be a pretty cool nickname by itself, but of course it's Soa's Shy. But
it's kind of fun to see how team names add to neighbors, to team names add to player names quite nicely a lot of the time. So Uncle G is actually the
there we go.
One of my favorite ones. We do see Tank Ovo for now, though. He's very outnumbered. He's just biding his time, though, just clearing up while the rotation goes against him. The big push in the top lane, though, from SOA. Currently, Malthael, the only one dealing with this. Apparently, Ooze, another one of those players, like Pommy, who spends a lot of time in the on the career server and does the very same thing. Just stays quiet and plays really good, according to Rally Jaffa.
Yeah, and something that's also kind of weird to see is that Nazeebo spends his time in the SOA lane for now. Normally, when you have a Nazeebo in your game or in your team, you want to make sure that he's able to soak at least from 2 lanes every now and then, so he can stack up his Voodoo Ritual very nicely. However, Malthael, this time kind of getting reinforced because of all that pressure that SOA applies onto that lane. So the strong laning presence and the strong rotation here by SOA forces ESTAR to not have ideal lane formation. So it's really, really cool to see that. Also, Nazeebo, not the most mobile of heroes, and he goes down. Kid causes the first blood. Nicely done by SOA.
Yeah, and this is always the factor when you put a hero like Nazeebo, like Ragnaros, who will benefit from who can do a solo lane well, but have so little escape potential. If they just try to overextend to push even harder, or to gain more stacks, in the case of Ragnaros, or even Nazeebo for Vile Infection late game, you're gonna struggle because you are vulnerable, and it's very easy to punish that if you're a solid team like SOA.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, we see a classic Spooter build coming out for ESTAR's Kid. In China, we are used to seeing a Toad Zeebo every now and then, but I think in a game where it all comes down to getting those juicy points and you're still dependent on them, you don't want to risk it by any means. Also, I think that against an Anubrak, it's normally not the healthiest of choices to go Toads, because all those beetles that Anubrak spawns can intercept one of those and you're going to lose a lot of value. But look at SOA's XP count here, pulling off ahead quite handsomely with 5 against 4.
Really is, and also hang on, good, moving in to get a lot of damage, but Faye is now in super danger. The zombie wall is dropped, and that is a nice kill. What I was going to say is, Toad build also a little bit risky against Zarya. You basically guarantee that all of the damage is going to drop onto her if she just runs into it, and then she can just gain all the stacks. With the spiders, they can sometimes get a little distracted, and that does still require Nazeebo.
Absolutely.
Hit skill shot against you. So it makes a little bit more sense to go for Spider-Man, which can also burst through the shield, because the spiders get crazy damage out of late game.
Oh yeah, and I think teams right now have really found a way to play around the Zarya, whereas when she was still brand new and one of the newest heroes in the Nexus, people, didn't really get the reactions done always. They sometimes attacked her or the allies while shielded, and even now people realize that even if Zarya uses her own shield on herself, she can still get killed very easily because of her low mobility. And it looks like SOA has now decided to leave the shrine and basically focus on top for now. And that's exactly what you want to see. This kind of macro play, prioritizing structures over the objective, is so important. Because look at the value they get. They destroy a fort without even needing the map objective, whereas they're probably not going to lose the bottom fort with ESTAR and the Punishers. So super good decision making on the side of SOA. I like it.
As do I, but we're going to have to see, like you said, if they are going to lose stuff. Because right now, it's only a Nubrak down here. Bates over. Nice burrow there.
That was really away. Nice.
You kind of want to pull it up a little bit higher, and the Punisher gets distracted, though. You want to pull it up a bit higher so that his tower attacks it as well, and the Fountain is in a bit less danger from those AoE abilities from the Punisher, especially if it's a Mortar or an Arcane. It's a Frozen, so it's not so bad. The Fountain should be relatively safe, but they finally put it up to that tower. and that tower
Nicely
will
done.
assist them.
They didn't even get a single tower in the bottom lane? Wow.
Oh! Get water
There we go. That is
sent back to the spawn point, sad and soggy.
That is the power of the quarterback here, the level 7 talent coming in for Tychus. You have a huge range on your grenade, and that, in my opinion, pairs off extremely well with a Titan grenade, level 16. You can get so much value, especially against double warrior compositions, because it scales with your opponent's max HP. Now, SOA, though, they're still dominating the map. They haven't lost a single tower in the bottom lane because of that beautiful leap over the wall. Malthael and Uther, 100%, baby.
I don't know how many games that is, though. Shy getting taken out, though, as we see a good zombie wall on Faye. He's surrounded, focused down. Can they get Uncle G2? Yes, they can. Even the shield, like we said, that great percentage damage coming in from Malthael, able to just burn through it. And that's going to be 3 kills in that bottom lane, going over to ESTAR. Falstead, though, continuing to put pressure on the top lane. There's Tyrael rotating up to him. Not the best hero in terms of ganking, in terms of a solo Falstead.
Yeah. It's kind of nice for Tank Over as well that he got a little bit more time to actually shove this top lane, because he went for Seasoned Marksman at level 1, so he wants to kill as many minions as possible. However, SOA, they need to be aware of the fact that they shouldn't overdo it. They shouldn't overcommit to split pushing all the time, because especially as teams find a way to pressure S5, you're going to always have to estimate, okay, is it worth it for us to lose a couple of team members now because we can counter it by getting more split XP? And by now, it seems that the trend has actually reverted. ESTAR is catching up more and more, and they're actually the ones who get to level 10 first.
Indeed, it's Gargantuan, the Tormented Souls, the Commandeer Odin.
Yep.
Now, we could see an adjustment here. We could still see Sanctification or Judgment or Divine Storm or Divine Shield from both of these heroes. One invulnerable is still preferable for that Malthael, and even the Nazebo, I would say potentially Divine Shield a bit more value, and that is picked up. But Judgment is still 100% viable.
Yeah, there's also no cleanse on the side of SOA. Only Zarya could maybe go for the cleansing shield. However, I think the Judgment would also make a lot of sense on targets like Lunara, which are quite hard to catch. But I think ESTAR for now, they're toying with their opponents a little bit. They want to leave them in the dark for now, so they can make any adjustments. And why not? I mean, it's not like a team fight is about to break out. They're going to wait for that very moment to happen, and then Tyrael is going to make that decision in split seconds. He's going to click that button and surprise his opponents a little bit. Now, FZ here on the Tyrael, there's going to be a lot of weight on his shoulders because his heroic ability really means a lot. And Kit, by the way, congratulations, 300 takedowns in his HGC career.
Very good job indeed. Here's to that 400. We will keep an eye for it.
There we go.
I do like that it is basically a party. Here's to it. Happy 300th kill. Here's to 400. For now, though, Punisher was taken by SOA due to ESTAR putting that pressure onto the bot lane, and it is now moving in fairly unattended due to SOA taking down that fort earlier on. Can they capitalize on this? Punisher getting focused down quite nicely. It was drawn over the wall by China #1 as Tyrael going into the backline. He picks Sanctification and drops it very quickly. Falstead a little bit out of position. The Gust only hitting a couple members. The Tormented Souls forcing Anubarak back. The Punisher left completely unattended, comes back over the wall, but they are able to focus it down. But the Expulsion Zone is good. Can they get a kill out of it? It grabs everyone in the corner. The Gargantuan doing crazy damage. The Leaping Strike allowing Shy to stay alive, but they're unable to kill anyone off. And Noob coming in for round 2, but he's completely on his own for a bit. His team already in retreat due to that Commandeer Odin damage output.
The poison is ticking though. Shy applying poison stacks onto the entire enemy team, and you can really see how they're now in the retreat. ESTAR, maybe they wanted to bite off a little bit more than they could chew, and here comes SOA.
The Cocoon is dropped. They already have 1 kill on that Uther. You can't heal the Rivies in the Cocoon. Good strategy here.
Wow.
As we see the Cocoon is popped, Tyrael's blown up, and SOA 2 kills to 0.
And that is also the power of the Lunara Oriel composition. The poison, when it ticks on multiple foes, it is going to provide so much hope to phase Oriel that the heals, the AoE heals, were just fantastic. And especially since SOA's team member also, they were very clumped up together because they were in the retreat. ESTAR couldn't really get a good grip onto them, so that allowed them to get together, get those massive AoE healings in, and all of a sudden it turned into a 2 versus 0 kills advantage in favor of SOA. Yet, ESTAR maintaining a nice and solid XP lead, but it's gotten a lot smaller. And I gotta say, SOA, they're looking pretty good in those team fights.
Yes, they are. SOA looking immensely solid right now as we see them hitting their level 13s as well as ESTAR, both teams at about the same time.
Yep.
It is going to be that giant killer, very important for both Lunara and Falstad, actually. I like that. It is only against one tank, but every little helps. Just getting that extra damage, just burn people down. Would you have preferred the extra poison damage, though? The unfair advantage?
Maybe, because Uther normally struggles to keep multiple targets alive at the same time. However, Ooze, he's in trouble, uses Tormented Souls, tries to stay alive. The Divine Shield is good, but the counter Aegis is on point.
Shy getting zoned a little bit. It got chased down pretty hard, but like you said, the Aegis is good, followed up by the shield, and Shy is able to get out. Will need to be back for health as is very low. Right now, though, we are seeing the Fallen Chamber continuing to push up in that top lane, keeping the pressure on, but ESTAR getting a big head start onto the Shrine.
So the double giant killer, of course, gets a little bit more sustained value, especially when targets are being protected by the Sanctification or the Divine Shield. If you go for Bursty Towns, you might actually just lose all the values if you drop it into the invulnerability effects. Now look at Nazeebo. He's top lane. He needs to defend the Fallen Shaman camp, as Tetris said, and there's still so many heroic abilities on cooldown for ESTAR, whereas almost all the heroic abilities are available for SOA. And that is a big advantage of their hero composition here as a whole. They have almost exclusively super low cooldown heroic abilities that are always ready. Now we see the Tychus Odin being dropped, and ESTAR is about to commit.
ESTAR is about to commit. Expulsion Zone completely splits the team. Tiger's getting zoned out, but his ability to so long range. But it's still Malthael getting dropped first. So many members, though. We're seeing a noob getting focused down the Gust to zone out with the Cocoon already dropped into the back line. Tyrael will detonate here.
Wow.
Detonating into the back line. Try to move down and kill some damage off onto a Nubarak. Isn't able to get the kill on the Nubarak, but he is able to guarantee the Punisher with his explosion.
Yeah. That was a really, really good... tank over. You're out of position, buddy.
Overextend?
Okay,
no,
okay.
Oh! There we go. The grenade gets the kill. And now FaZe in danger as well. The Punisher was actually jumping into the backline. Spiders, the boost shielding, the speed shield coming in from Uncle G will get FaZe out.
What? FaZe?
No, FaZe! Turns around, gets focused down and killed off. Now it is a noob and Zarya also in danger. A noob will escape back to the knockup.
Oh, no!
Zombie wall is good. Is it enough to finish him?
Oh, no!
Uncle G will survive. He's going to try and time the grenade, gets the heal, turns it round. Spiders onto Uncle G. They focus him down and they get the kill.
Is Good going to live?
Shall die to Lunara. It's just Good. Trying to micro around to get the kill onto Shy. He's getting healed up by Uther so much, focusing down Shy with the Punisher's help, and they get the kill.
Don't take over, done yet.
One man Gust into nothing.
The Punisher's going to help though. Punisher's going to help, and there's Tyrael as well. Tank Ovo a little bit too reckless here. The Gust was good, but there was no follow-up because all the other team members for SOA had died previously. So he's just... all he could do there was buy a little bit more time. At least he distracted them from the keep. I think if they had ignored Falstad, they might have been able to take it because it's already sitting at 30%. So that was one of the most chaotic moments I have seen in HGC China. However, I think the core problem here for SOA was the fact that Lunara decided to go on the right. Shy definitely abandoned his teammates there, whereas his teammates, they're all like, okay, we can still fight, guys. We can still fight. 2 people are already dead. Let's go. And we ignore the Punisher. However, Lunara had a different point of view, and that's why they couldn't fight together. They were all low from the previous engagements. And guess what? Without Lunara, there's no hope gain for the Oriole, and that's why one person after the other crumbled for SOA, man. But what a battle, back and forth.
Yeah, and that really all started from Falstad just going too deep and getting turned on. Nice move. There was a good attempt. Tyrael also giving his life to grab the objective was a cool little move. Nice little touch.
Got it.
Hopefully, the ideal situation would be he didn't die, but if he was going to die, which he was already poisoned, he might as well die onto the enemy team and grab the objective at the same time. It was a cool move.
Once again, Lunara, though, Shy. He is putting out that damage, and ESTAR, it always seems like they have to wait a little bit until Uther gets all the cooldowns back, and Tyrael has the righteousness available to provide further shielding, because Lunara's poison damage is actually spreading really, really well, and combine that with the hard-hitting grenades by Uncle G, they have outstanding poking material, and if you have a Nazeebo in your team, you want to be the ones poking, actually. So if the enemy team's poke is stronger than your own, you're going to have to fall back more and more. However, time's ticking in favor of ESTAR, with that level 20 getting closer and closer for Nazeebo. I'm pretty sure he's been able to farm really well. Of course, we don't really have the exact number of his Voodoo Ritual stacks. However, Ooze is getting caught out of position.
Who's getting focused, leaping strike, he drops the Tormented Souls, gets the Divine Shield to turn it around, but still has to retreat. He's still outnumbered, can't afford to just go full ham like he would like to here.
Still a win though. Trading 2 long cooldown heroic abilities, the Divine Shield and the Tormented Souls for 1 Cocoon, is always a nice thing to have. And here goes another battle.
The Sanctification keeping Tychus safe, the Gust not landing here. He tried to time it for the end of the Sank, but missed time. So a noob going in. They still want to try and make it. Sega's both Sank and Divine Shield.
No more Divine Shield.
Back to the backline. But the Ice Block keeping Kid alive. The poison is ticking. But the healing from Uther will keep an eye on that. Shy, who's getting focused down. The Aegis keeping him alive and trying to turn it around onto Tychus, which they are able to pick up the kill for.
Fei Yi just baited that Tychus into the backline so hard because 1 grenade would have been enough to kill Shry. However, that preemptive Crystal Aegis, so smart by Fei Yi. That was the play of the game until this point for me personally because Good ended up dying as a result. So well done. And now we have Tank Owa defending the top lane against the Fallen Shaman camp. SOA establishing a nice dominance over the Shrine here. It's going to be a Frozen Punisher, by the way, and that is going to be very, very helpful because after 15 minutes and 30 seconds, those guys hit like a truck. So, looks like ESTAR doesn't really want to commit anymore. Oh, Spark BZ in trouble, though. Oh.
He is in trouble with the Gust to save it. The poison's taking shield from Zarya, and he shall survive. Now, can they get the Tyrael? No, Tyrael was able to get an Eldritch Bite just before that expulsion zone landed, and he is able to escape.
Look at Uncle G's grenade damage, though. Not only do they hit hard, but also they're extremely accurate. Uncle G very rarely misses a grenade, and if you constantly hit 2, 3, maybe even 4 people with your fully charged grenades, it's a surprising amount of extra damage that the enemy healers need to compensate. Look at that Malthael, though. That's the power of his trade. Chunking down the health of that Punisher. The Gargantuan trying to buy a little bit more time, but gets taken out very handsomely.
Tyrael moving in, trying to get some damage. He does have Sankard. He just uses it. In comes the Tormented Souls into the backline. They want to try and take down a Nubarak as a priority target here to try and remove some of that CC. Tychus gets caught by the Punisher root, but the Divine Shield keeping him alive. No kills for either team in that scuffle, and the fort does survive, but we do see SOA moving in, and they will pick that up.
And that is the power of... Oh, the Cocoon is good, actually. The entirety of ESTAR was about to pull back. Can they get the Nazeebo? That would be a huge opportunity for them.
Ice block. He uses the Ice block to try and prevent the follow-up burst damage. Keeps himself alive. Once again, both teams able to avoid casualties.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the value of Ice Block. That single-handedly saved his life. A kill on Nazeebo there would have actually been the worst-case scenario for ESTAR, because from then, maybe SOA could have had more staggered deaths. They could have maybe taken the tower line near the keep. And when you are ESTAR with that Nazeebo comp, with Nazeebo almost being in his final form, you want to hold, you want to stall out the game a little bit longer. In SOA, they're probably starting to sweat a little bit, because they realize if they get level 20 ESTAR, that is, they're going to have a much more powerful ranged assassin in, or specialist in the case of Nazeebo. So they need to apply more pressure. It needs to happen right here and right now.
Yes, they do. Can they do it, though? As we do see SOA putting that pressure onto the bot lane. They've got these Impalers with them, helping do that little bit of extra damage as the Fountain is now under duress. Toads do get soaked a little bit here. Less than ideal for SOA, absorbing all that damage. Yeah, Zarya gets a little bit of shielding out of it, but it's still not good for heroes that aren't shielded, like Falstad, to take it. Down goes the Gargantuan very quickly. That is nice, but they are still going to back up. It did do a little bit of damage.
They, of course, don't want to fight without level 20 ready for them. So despite the Malthael actually showing himself top, and despite the fact that SOA had a numbers advantage, they still want to take things very carefully, very patiently. And that's exactly what I like about them. Now, Nazeebo, he doesn't seem to be fully stacked. That's why he doesn't immediately lock down the Val Infection. Now they need to ask themselves, can we farm enough minions without risking losing another team fight? Or do we go for Humongoid, which is normally the best talent to go if you're not fully stacked?
Yeah, here is the question. Remember, you don't lock in your stacks. You can still stack up, even if you don't take Vile Infection straight away. It is very much a risk versus reward kind of situation right now. Do they instantly need Humongoid, or do they need to go for the Vile Infection straight away? For now, both teams already starting onto the Shrine, with SOA taking a small lead here, but ESTAR zoning, just getting little bits of poke, picking up a couple minions here and there, waiting for their moment. Ooze dropping some good poison damage onto both with the backline damage dealers.
The Tychus Odin has been popped here. Remember, those skeletons don't count as stacks on Nazeebo. He can fully stack up now. He goes for the Humongoid, and they go in as a team.
They're trying to get the damage in. They've taken control on the point. The Humongoid assisting them in taking this. Like you said, he's not fully stacked. He is committing to this. Galloping Gate for Lunaris will allow her to try and micro around this, as SOA trying to creep in. That big red button is zoning them out pretty hard, though. They're having a little bit of trouble actually getting back onto the point now that they've backed off it.
So much zoning by the Humongoid and, of course, by the Tiger's Odin as well. They need to go in, SOA. That is massive shielding coming on from Oriel here as well.
Here comes the backline Tormented Souls, though. We're seeing Malthael trying to do the damage. Everyone's been zoned out again. Once again, neither team takes casualties. Malthael tries to change that, but can't make it in time. But now SOA, they're in full retreat. They are currently trying to protect Zarya, who was slowed a little bit here.
No more grenades, Uncle G. You don't have the time. You need to get out of here right now before the Punisher reaches you or before ESTAR catches up. Okay, so they're most likely going to use this keep. They need to heal right now, sack the keep, but stay in the game. That has to be the philosophy for ESTAR, because if they lose one member here, Shy in trouble. Oh my god, the worst case scenario. That is a core attempt now for ESTAR.
Yeah, too greedy by Shy, trying to get that free damage. Yeah, they were able to bait the Punisher up to mid, but the Punisher is no longer interested. It's moving back in, clearing out the mini wave as the core is already under attack. Ooze getting
triple stun.
Free-man stun by the Punisher. Malthael goes in and shreds the backline. We're going to see Ariel potentially die. No, the Shield of Fate keeping her alive for now, but the core is not so lucky. And that is certainly going to be GG. And ESTAR will take game number 1.
There we go. GG. ESTAR takes the victory, but look at their faces. They're still very calm and collected, very stern and focused, because they know, they realize this was not a walk in the park. This was actually some hard work they had to put in, because SOA put in a really, really good show here, a lot of effort, but in the end, I gotta say, individual mistakes made all the difference. Shy, I criticized him a little bit before for splitting too far from the rest of his team. In this case, it is 100% to blame on the Lunari. You cannot get caught by the Punisher. Despite having Leaping Strike, you cannot get caught.
Yeah, there was no reason for him to be there. Like you said, you called it right before that happened. In your words, they just need to go back and heal and try and defend at core. What does Lunara do? Exactly not that. And gets punished, she gets jumped on, and even with the Leaping Strike, Tigers was able to keep that overkill trained onto her, and she got taken down. Mistakes were made, and as such, ESTAR able to take the game without too much of a fight on the core.
Yeah. Gotta say, though, I gotta say, both teams played their team comps extremely well. We saw the heavy protection style and the heavy zoning style coming out from ESTAR with the double support. Well, not really the double support, but the Tyrael counting as a semi-support. We saw the Tychus Odin doing so much work. The Gargantuan choice was perfectly fine, because you could see that in that Shrine battle, you had a Gargantuan. During that siege up the keep, there was the next Gargantuan waiting already, because Humongoid decreases the cooldown for so much. So it was a little bit of a pity that he didn't get the full stacking done, but perfect example here of how you can still get late game value despite not being fully stacked as an Zebo.